Welcome, youth developer. Today is going to be 30 minutes with an action taker. We have Angela Gibson, who's the owner of Abraham's Consulting and Eve Speaks. So I am going to allow Eve to speak today to all of us. So Angela, thank you for coming to the show.
Thank you, Patty, for having me. I'm very honored and privileged and humbled. So, Eve Speaks was born out of my decision to overcome, my determination to overcome my fear of public speaking. It is a subdivision of Abraham's Consulting, my 11-year-old IT consultancy that specializes in bringing technology solutions to the federal, state, and local government. We focus on security, networking, and storage solutions. And Eve Speaks came about because I tried to speak to 40 entrepreneurs last year, 2016, and at Goldman Sachs. Well, actually, it was a Goldman Sachs program at LaGuardia College, and I effectively blacked out, lost consciousness. And at that moment in time, I realized that I had been putting off overcoming this fear for many, many years, the fear of speaking publicly. And even though I'd owned a business for 11 years, I really never spoke to an audience. I can have small group meetings, but this thing of speaking to an audience and standing up in front of them, my heart fell out of my chest.
Yes, I can imagine.
So that's the platform for Eve Speaks, is to first overcome my own fear and give birth to the possibility within me. Once I decide to start speaking up, I can give voice to others.
So it's sort of like you wanted to lead by example to many people who are struggling. And
exactly. So I'm willing for them to see me mess up on video and make all kinds of mistakes, because I've already done the worst. I passed out. So what could be worse than that?
There's only one way when you fall down. It's up, right? So yeah. So you're doing it. I'm so encouraged for that. I mean, it really takes like courage to one, open yourself up to what most people call quote unquote, it's like, oh my gosh, it was a disaster, but really it was an experience, right? Like failure is just experience. And that's how I see it. And I really admire that you decided. And I remember when you first proposed your first video, and I was like, oh my goodness, Angela's gotta come to the youth developer, because there's a ton of youth developers, like teachers, principals, that also have a fear of speaking, and they're in front of classrooms and they're in front of other people. So you're really being an inspiration to many people in different fields. So thank you. Thank you for opening that up. So what's like one of the things that, walk us through when you made that decision to say, this is when I'm giving birth to Eve Speaks. What was happening, like that process? What was that process like?
Well, the process started when I blacked out. I realized, oh no, I can't live like this. There's just no way. And I had to come to grips with the fact that I had studied communications in school, and I did a lot of writing. I'm great at writing, if I may say so myself, I was told. So I'd be a part of these group meetings in school, because you had to write in groups and group projects. But then when it came time to give a presentation, I was never the one to volunteer, because I knew I had this problem. And one day, though, the professor decided, okay, what you've written is so great, you just have to present it. She wanted me to present. I was like, no, she didn't. It was part of my grade, so I got up to try to do it, and I could not even read my own writing. I thought it was so good to present, but I couldn't even present that. And I effectively sat down. So because I was so nervous and really trapped by anxiety.
Yeah.
My biggest struggle. I have an anxiety disorder. So that definitely took over that day. And so I sat down and let me off the hook. So I tried again. But then now I own an IT consultancy, and I was accepted into the Goldman Sachs program because my business had achieved a certain level of revenue and I had a couple of employees, so they were like, okay, they accepted me. So I'm going through this program, and they have all these projects and things, and you have to present to the other entrepreneurs in the room.
Mm-hmm.
That was what brought this about when I blacked out, because then I realized that, I've been putting this off for so long, and here I am back here again. And so no matter if you put it off, it's going to come up again. So you might as well push through. And that's what I'm doing, because procrastination doesn't really
Oh no.
clearly didn't benefit me.
It's like a mind constipation. That's what procrastination is. That's what I say it all the time. It really is. I mean, I don't know if I told you this story, but like in college, I still remember my first presentation when we were talking about like group work. You have people who write it, people do the research, and people present. And at that time, this is an FIU when I was in Miami. And I was 17. I was really young, and I still remember that it was, they decided, because in the group I was very like outgoing, and I was like, yeah, we should do this. They're like, you should present. And I was like, yeah, I guess so, right? Because I've always talked in small groups. That was like, I felt very comfortable. I was like, no problem. And I remember having this horrific, like, not to say in front of everybody, like, I basically was in the bathroom the whole time. And I remember stuttering, right? One, I was already feeling terrible, and I will never forget that the bathroom was only one room away from the classroom. And they were like in shock that I was that nervous, that I was taking forever. They're like, hi, you gotta get out, it's our turn. I'm like, I can't.
Oh my goodness.
And that reminded me, just sharing here, when I was little, my dad did a bike-a-thon, and I was like 6 or 7. I was very young. And I was like, we were the last ones to hit the goal, and this is in Peru. But when we got there, we were so late, Angela. Like, everybody had left, and they were like already on stage celebrating the whole celebration. And then my dad hears, bring the oldest and the youngest person. My dad looked around, he looked at me, he picked me up, he walked me through the crowd, threw me on stage, and this is in Spanish.
Oh my God.
And I'm in stage, I'm 6, it's like over 500 people, and they're asking me to put a medal on this older man, right, on the oldest man of the event. And medal in Spanish is called medalla, right? So when I'm about to put it, I'm like, and then like hundreds of people are waiting for me. And I'll never forget, there was like a group in the front. They're like, come on, hurry up, all in Spanish, but super rude. And all of a sudden I was like, medalla. And then all of a sudden the whole crowd cheers. And I still get goosebumps every time I tell this story.
Oh my goodness.
I had 500 people cheering and me standing going, oh yes. I like this, So being in the bathroom, right? And I'm like, whatever, like after the whole presentation, it was terrible. I was studying. My accent comes out. I start to talk like this when I am nervous. And it was terrible. And then I leave, and I remember that moment that I had of like, yes, it was painful, but then it was a huge victory. And I was like, no, I'm going to be a speaker one day, And I didn't. And then you fast forward until I was 23, I started working with children. Forget it, because you have to stand up in front of like hundreds of kids to get your attention. So but there was that big break. But I can hear, I totally understand. Like, just like, you never forget like the place, right?
No, that must have made a major impact on your life. You remember such details. You were in college at 17?
I did. But I dropped out of college for 5 years. Actually more. I dropped out of 5 years, and I went part-time, and I didn't go back to get my bachelor's until I was 28 years old.
Wow.
So I did start at 17, very immature. I basically paid a lot of money for nothing. dropped out for 5 years, and then when I got back in, it was part-time, and then from there, then I'm 28 taking classes for like 18-year-olds. Yeah. Yeah, but thanks for sharing. And I know it, like I said, it just takes courage, you know. So what are some of the things that you want to do with Eve Speaks besides you sharing? Do you want people to come on board and also speak?
Yeah, so I certainly want to give voice to the folks that usually have no voice. And for me, the first group, the groups that I talked about, the group, one being those who are visually impaired or were born blind or became blind later on in life, which I think is even more traumatic because
Yeah.
it's crazy to be able to see and then you can't.
Yeah.
And some of them are so educated, so resilient, and so talented.
Yeah.
And in New York, by the way, I found out in New York there are 100,000 blind people alone. New York State, and in New York City there are 50,000, and of that 50,000, between 80 and 90% are either underemployed or unemployed because they're dismissed by. They're not even dismissed because they're not even considered it. They don't show up on the radar at all for employers. And all this talk about the diversity doesn't include them.
You said 50,000 in New York City?
Alone.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah, I was shocked too. And some of them, granted, may not be qualified, but there's a great pool of them that are very educated.
Yeah.
And so if I can work with the Catholic Guild for the Blind, that's who I'm collaborating with, to help to get them jobs, because we're an IT consulting firm, so we can facilitate the process of trying to help them find jobs in organizations. And there's a great benefit to organizations that employ the visually impaired, because the federal government gives these organizations money. Actually, it's a mandate, but they don't necessarily follow it even as a mandate, because you can have these mandates, but you have no way to enforce them, then it doesn't mean anything. That these organizations, as long as they're getting federal funds, are supposed to hire the visually impaired. And there's so much assistive technology. I went to the guild to see these people in action, and that's what really even compelled me more to pursue youth.
Wow.
Because I see people completely blind using assistive technology. They can hear and write based on what they hear.
Yeah.
Because they can't see, so they hear it and then they put it on paper or they input it in the computer. It's amazing what they're doing, and they don't have a major faculty. And here I am with all my faculties freaking out over even a presentation. I'm like, I really gotta get over myself. I gotta get over myself and get out the way. And that's the issue. I'm in my own way. And Eve Speaks to me is that appeal. Because when I think of Eve, I think of possibility, because Eve that's what she represents, birth and
that's true.
Promise. So I'm thinking I got to give birth to this.
Yeah, and congratulations. When did you first open? When was your first video? I know that you're on Facebook, and I'll put the link to Facebook for those who want to visit, and make sure you like her page, everyone. So yeah, when did you open Eve Speaks?
It was probably a month and a half ago. I still struggle with the fear of speaking on YouTube. I started, but I still struggle because sometimes I'm like, what am I going to talk about? I still have these fears that I'm trying to overcome. So it's still very much a journey for me.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to invite people to share their story and help me to continue to fight to overcome, because I'm still very much struggling with the whole public persona thing. It's not my thing.
Yeah, no, I mean, I totally understand the inner chatter. Like, we all have that, so, like, people call it whatever. And I call it Satan's lies, so that's like, and it's nice and loud, and it's like, how we gonna quiet that voice, or voices really, because there's a couple. I don't know how many people I mean, it usually happens in the shower. Like, in the shower, they decided to sing. But yeah, no, absolutely. So I mean, it's great because right now you're in a YouTube channel, and so you can link that out to your page as well. And what are some other ways that people could get in touch with you if they want to collaborate or sharing Eve Speaks or in your YouTube?
They can certainly send me an email at A. Gibson at abrahamsconsulting.com.
Okay.
Because Eve Speak is a subsidiary of Abraham's Consulting.
Got it.
Call me at 718-524-7933.
Awesome. You're giving phone numbers here. I love it.
Totally available.
Yeah.
So I'm actually also pursuing organizations to allow us to give presentations about the plight of the visually impaired. So it's a journey. I'm definitely in a very infant stages, and I'm discovering and uncovering what I can do to make it happen for these.
Yeah. And actually opening and doing is the first step. Like, you were aware, right? You went through that experience. You opening up this door, there's only people are just gonna come in. Your door is open. So for a while it was closed, but now you open your door. So thank you for letting us be part of it, from the Youth Developer, which is like you. It's a YouTube channel for our company, which is Wise Superstars. So I love that you created, or again gave birth to Eve Speaks, and that you're sharing this time, which is sharing your story and the reasons why and your convictions. And I know that it was even more ironically how we started this interview, all these challenges, right?
Yeah.
But I think I'll put it in the show notes, because I love to put in like deeper dives. I follow the Model Health Show, and there that convenience and convictions are never in the same room. That's something like
Lisa Nichols.
Oh, thank you,
my girl. I went to see her this year in California this spring.
Yes.
They're not the same zip code.
Yes. And she mentioned that's something like her grandma will tell her all the time.
Absolutely.
And I was just so touched by that, because, it's so true. There are always going to be obstacles when you're trying to give a message. Right. And so clearly, what you are saying is going to impact someone right now through this channel, and that's the reason there was so many obstacles to get you on, right? And so I believe that, right? Whether it's this week, next month, next year, in 2 years, whatever, it's going to happen, because now this video is out there.
That's right.
Yep.
Thank you for having this platform, because it's definitely going to impact so many people trying to get this story out. I mean, it's amazing what you're doing, for sure.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, and that's why I did a playlist with action takers. Hey, you took action, it's time to interview, right? So I interview separately, and I do self-care, but I love spending time with people who are action takers, like that. I appreciate, and people get inspired by people who take action. And they want to know. It's like, okay. And really, at the end of the day, just listening to your story, it took a decision. It was a decision that you made.
Absolutely. Decision.
Yeah. Awesome.
You are the biggest action taker yet.
Thank you. And hopefully we can obviously do a lot more. We would love to have you here in the studio. We could do a lot more other projects. I'm looking forward to. So Youth Developer, any questions? I'm putting the link of Angela's Facebook. She's giving out her phone number, people, okay, and her email for you to get in touch with her. So Angela, again, thank you so much for spending some time with us here at the Youth Developer.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right, let's do a goodbye wave.
Bye.
Yes.
I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet.
I didn't follow my own instructions.
So don't stop.